Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ed Army, and today, as you can tell, we are diving back as we are about to get to BT20 itself, or Special Booster 2.5, as it's about to release in about, I think, 2 days of the time we're recording. But the point is, we are jumping straight into it as we're going to be talking about the actually cover card and the cover archetype of the strategy, as we are going to be looking at Chronicle today. As Chronicle will be the focus of this What's the Scoop, as we will be getting into all the cards today. But before I get into it, as always, I have one little request of you, and that is simply to go ahead and accelerate the sub count. Let's continue to grow the Ed Army together, and with your support, we keep on going higher and higher as we reach the summits and past the plateaus. But before I get into it, as you know, if this is your first time to What's the Scoop, or you are a regular here, you know that when you get a first look, so do I, as you can sit back, relax, plug in, listen, watch, or go ahead and stream it, or listen in the car rides if you need, to me, as you can listen to these amazing cards, understand what they do, and you don't have to go anywhere else, as we got you covered here on the Ed Army. But we're jumping straight into it with the support, as we have a lot of cards to cover today, as we actually have 2 lines of support and the connecting cards, as technically Chronicle is its own archetype, but all of the cards technically created for the Chronicle archetype are support cards for other strategies, in the sense that they both focus on the other X antibody forms. But we do have a connecting line. We have a level 6. We have 2 level 6s, 1 level 7, a tamer, and a new option additionally with their lines. So we're going to be jumping into it straight away, as we're going to start off with the red-black line, or better yet, the Ryudamon line. As we look at the brand new Ryudamon at a BT20, this one can digivolve on top of any black level 2 with the X antibody trait for a cost of 0. And then during your turn, when this Digimon would digivolve into Ginryumon or Digimon card with the Chronicle trait, you reduce the Digi-Evolution cost by 1. Then during your turn for its inheritable, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. This is also a Beast, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded card. Very cool. Looking at the brand new Ginryumon, this one can digivolve on top of any level 3 with Ryudamon in its name or with the Chronicle trait for a cost of 2. And then when attacking, this Digimon may digivolve into Hisaryumon or a Digimon card with the Chronicle trait in the hand. Very cool. And it carries the inheritable that during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. This Digimon is also a Beast Dragon, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Very cool. Talking about the brand new BT20 Hisaryumon, this one can digivolve on top of Ginryumon or level 4 with the Chronicle trait for a cost of 3. And then on play, when digivolving, you may play one Dorumon or Ryudamon from your hand to your empty breeding area without paying the cost. Then, if during an attack until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains secure attack +1 and 5000 DP. Pretty big. Additionally, we have the inheritable here that during your turn, this Digimon doesn't activate security effects that it will check on option cards. So that is very cool. And additionally, it is a Beast Dragon, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Very good. Talking about Oriyumon here, Oriyumon arrives as it carries Piercing as an innate skill, and then for its on play when digivolving, it can de-digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if during an attack, one of your Digimon in the breeding area may digivolve into a level 6 or lower Chronicle trait Digimon card in the hand or trash without paying the cost. And then during all turns, once per turn, when security stacks are removed from, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. During its inheritable, for its effect when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon is Alphamon or you can trash your opponent's top security card. This is a Beast Dragon, an X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Very cool. It's time to transition into our black-yellow line, as it's time to look at the brand new BT20 Dorumon. This one can digivolve on top of any black level 2 with the X Antibody trait for a cost of 0. And for its on-play effect, it reveals the top 3 cards of your deck, and you get to add 1 card with the X Antibody trait and 1 Tamer card or option with the Chronicle trait among them to the hand. Then you return the rest to the bottom of the deck. During your opponent's turn for its inheritable, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. For its traits, you have a Beast, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Very cool. As we now get to look at Raptordramon, one Digimon we don't see very often. This Digimon can Digivolve on top of Dorumon or a level 3 with a Chronicle trait for a cost of 2. When Digivolving, if you have one or fewer tamers, you may play one Kota Demoto from your hand without paying the cost. And then for its inheritable, during your opponent's turn, the Digimon gets 2000 DP. This Digimon is also a Cyborg, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Now let's move into Grademon, which we haven't seen in a very long time. This one can Digivolve on top of Raptordramon or level 4 with the Chronicle trait for a cost of 3. During its on play and when Digivolving ability, you may play one Dorumon or Ryudomon from your hand to your empty breeding area without paying the cost. Then if during an attack until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon effects and it gets 5000 DP. That's a whopping total there. And for its inheritable, during your opponent's turn, once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to this Digimon. This Digimon is a Warrior, X Antibody, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Very cool. Additionally, we finally arrived to the brand new BT20 Alphamon. This one's a rare. I really like this card, but I'll talk about it in another video. This Digimon carries Barrier as its first skill, and then on play and when Digivolving, you get to recover +1. Then, if during an attack, one of your Digimon in the breeding area may Digivolve into a level 6 or lower Chronicle trait Digimon card in the hand or trash without paying the cost during all turns once per turn. When security stacks are removed from one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8000 DP for the turn. During all turns once per turn, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effects, if this Digimon is Alphamon or you can by trashing your top security card, it doesn't leave. Very cool. Then for its traits, it is a Holy Warrior, X Antibody, Royal Knight, and a Chronicle traded Digimon. Whew, these traits are getting longer and longer. As it's time for us to talk about the boss of the strategy, it's time to talk about the cover card, as we have Alphamon or you can Ace that can DNA Digivolve from any black level 6 plus a yellow or red level 6 for a cost of 0. Very cool. It can also blast DNA Digivolve with Alphamon and Oriumon, and it can on play when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 15,000 DP until the end of their turn. Then if DNA Digivolving, you get to trash your opponent's top security card and recover +1. During all turns, once per turn, when security stacks are removed from, you get to gain 3 memory. Very cool. And for its overflow, it carries a -5, so as expected of a level 7 Ace. And additionally, for its traits, here we go, it is a No Data, X Antibody, Royal Knight, and Chronicle traded Digimon. Mouthful, right? Let's go into our tamers and the new option. As first, we'll start off with our new tamer. We have Kota Demoto and Yuji Musha. We were pretty much expecting this, but more importantly, at the start of your main phase, if you have 2 or less memory, you set it to 3, being a memory setter. Cool. Also, this is a 5-cost option. 5-cost tamer. Just want to make that clear. Then during your turn, when one of your Chronicle trait Digimon attacks, by suspending this tamer, one of your Digimon on the field may Digivolve into a level 6 or lower Chronicle trait Digimon card in the hand with the Digi-Evolution cost reduced by 1. Very cool. And this card's rule name trait is always treated or also treated as Kota Demoto and Yuji Musha separately. And then for its security effect, you simply just play it out. So very cool. But now we're going to be talking about the brand new option. We have Fellowship of Hope's Keepers. Very cool. This one, for its main effect, is allowing you to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You get to add 1 Chronicle trait card among them to the hand. Then you return the rest to the top or bottom of the deck. Then you place this card in the battle area. During all turns, when any of your Chronicle trait Digimon are deleted, you use the delay effect by moving your level 3 or higher Chronicle trait Digimon from the breeding area to the battle area. It may Digivolve into a Chronicle trait Digimon card in the hand or trash without paying the cost. For its security effect, you may play 1 Chronicle trait card with a play cost of 5 or less from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then you place this card in the battle area. And this card is always having the X Antibody and Chronicle trait in its actual trait. So you can search for them. So very cool. But that is what we've got, guys. Now that we've covered all the cards, let's talk about what we've got here. So starting off, I want to talk about specifically the Oriumon line first. I think what's really cool here with the entire archetype of Chronicle is that in creating them, specifically for the Oriumon line, this was needed. Oriumon as a deck is now playable. I think it's definitely a lot playable. The Special evolution conditions do include each of the names of the different Digimon, so this deck is definitely more playable than it was before. So you can combine it with the Seeker support as well as the original support to put the deck into actually a functioning strategy. So that's like one of the things I just wanted to mention first. I think the benefit is each of the effects of this deck now kind of helps each other out. So seeing the inheritables of the DP threshold gives this deck a bit more aggression. The new Hisaryumon giving security attack +1 and 5000 DP is kind of crazy when you combine it with all the other cards, because obviously you can combine all of them with the original X Antibody or X Antibody Protoform if you want. The point is, when you swing with like X Antibody, right, you can now go into the Hisaryumon. With this new line, this Hisaryumon can give itself 5000 DP, security attack +1. With the other inheritables, it can do roughly a 16,000 check, I think, with just the line support here and its own effect. So really good. Additionally, as well, when we look at the new Oriumon, this thing is extremely overtuned in the right way. And the reason why I say that is this card, Digivolves 2, very good. Can allow you to delete, very good. And then allows you to Digivolve up. You do have to have Chronicle, but still very solid to do that, because now you're setting up your second stack, which is, I think, what the deck is focusing on. So we'll talk about that in a second. But also, its inheritable is extremely good, because if you just play Oryuken in general, like you play the original Oryuken in, say, an Oryumon deck, because you can kind of do that, but you need to play Alphamon as well. You can kind of just see the synergy where Digivolving into that with a reduced Evo isn't that bad, because it won't check options. But also for Oryuken Ace with Chronicle, it's very good, because not checking options is just insane in terms of like bombs, because security bombs were usually the way you dealt with Oryuken before, and now the new one just kind of can avoid it by doing that, or the old one as well. But also going into now Dorumon and kind of going more into Chronicle, I think the key thing about Chronicle is I see what they're doing. I think what they're missing, though, like the card they're missing, is something that allows you to immediately move something from the breeding area to the battle area. So the reason why I mention that is, if you really look at what the deck has available, it actually does a lot of things right. So when you get to your level 5s, both of them focus on making sure you can build your second stack quickly without, having to actually pay memory. And when you get to your level 6s, they do the exact same thing. They make sure that you're not paying any memory to Digivolve up. So this is a big plus to people who maybe were thinking the deck was a bit slow, which it was, but with these effects, it kind of counteracts that. Additionally, with the Dorumon line, I think what gives it the better fit of like making this obviously Chronicle as a deck, like a hybrid deck, is that the fact that the Dorumon is the searcher, the Raptor is your tamer player, so you need to play these cards because it will freely deploy your Koda and your Yuji, so you need that. But additionally, it can play also Koda as well. So unfortunately for those people who are Yuji Musha fans, you aren't able to play Yuji, the original one, with this. But hey, it gets the job done because Koda is another memory setter and it searches, so you really want to get to it quicker. Grademon is important because of its inheritable, I think. Being able to, when you get into your level 6, I think it's insane that when you get to redirect, because with inheritables like this, like the DP buffs on the Dorumon or Raptordramon, giving a 15k Alphamon the ability to kind of redirect a check to it is like really good. So always cool, or whatever you put on top, whether it's Oryumon or Alphamon. Additionally, Alphamon is a card that I really want to talk about in another deck, because I think this card's insane for stuff like the black-yellow DNA deck, because this card just generically Digivolves for 3 instead of like 4, which I thought it would, but they decided not to do that. So it can just recover, and it has barrier, so you can do checks with it. But the point is, the inheritable doesn't matter on that version of the deck, because I want to focus on Chronicle. Point is, this card is really good because it gives you recovery, which the deck had no access to at all. So if you're playing like Alphamon as a deck, playing a copy or two of this is actually pretty solid, because having access to recovery is just very good. And being able to minus DP is also really good, because this combined with like D-Digivolve, which does exist in the Alphamon deck, is a really potent combination, because you can reduce your opponent's Digimon back with Digivolve, then immediately hit them with DP reduction, and immediately start to showcase to your opponent, yeah, this is a lethal combo. Like, it's very good. Then when any of security cards are obviously removed from, you get that ability to do that. It's just really good in my opinion, because it just showcases that the deck can just really pump out a lot of damage that way, or if your opponent attacks you, they get punished for it. So very good. Talking about Yuji as well as Oryuken and the Fellowship card. Starting with Alphamon Oryuken, I think this card straightforwardly is just very good. I think it's just very strong. It blasts DNA Digivolves, which kind of hampers it, but it's not that bad because in this deck, you really want to just get it down. The cool factor, I think, for this card is that minus 15,000 DP that doesn't need to be a DNA effect. I think that effect is just really good because 15,000 DP is huge. And on a 9, technically 9 to play this card, it's still very strong no matter what because you're basically destroying anything on the field because nothing really can stand up to 15,000 DP. Like whatever you hit with it is going to probably be deleted. There's very few Digimon that would survive that, so very cool. And additionally, we have recovery +1 for his DNA effect with that ability to trash the top security. I think that's just hilarious because it's like the payoff if you DNA into this thing. It's like, let me pop your security and then let me just gain one back. So it's just, being greedy almost in my opinion. But for its ability that when security stacks are removed from, it gains 3 memory. I think that's funny because if you perform this attack, I guess, say, for instance, you're performing the attack during the middle of something like X Antibody, when the security stack is finally removed from after you Digivolve, you'll gain the memory back. So if you pass turn, you'll bring your memory back. So that's just hilarious, that's just exactly kind of what you want to do to make someone feel bad. But it is what it is. I still think this card does take a little bit to get into, but it's still worth it when you get the payoff. Talking about the brand new Kota and Yuji, I think that this deck is actually kind of very well developed for its first line of support. I don't think this deck is going to be like meta breaking, I think, but it's definitely able to play immediately. What I like about this is that the new Yuji and Kota allow you the ability to kind of digivolve without the need of X antibody. So that's kind of what they're focusing on with them being able to digivolve into the Chronicle trade cards with the reduced cost by 1. So like you attack, you're going to use this effect, suspend it, target it, or not target, but you know what I mean. You're going to suspend, then digivolve up and reduce it by 1. This is very good because you can now climb into, for instance, I think with the Hisaryumon and Grademon, you now climb into your level 6s with this effect very quickly, and they're usually going to be reduced by like 2 to 2 on each. So you'll pass turn, but you're still going to be able to digivolve reduced and do a lot more damage. So it's always really good to see that, I think. But also it does help with the ability of kind of getting into that last stack to DNA into like Oryuken. You really want to like be able to slowly build up your stack, but you also have to be memory efficient, right? So when you get into your level 5s, you just want to make sure you have enough pieces. And this card allows you to make sure you maintain your memory cost on your actual evolutions down so that you can slowly do that as well. Finally, finishing up with Fellowship of Hope's Keepers. I think this card's very good. It's just at first it's just a generic searcher, but when it uses its delay effect, I like that ability to just simply do what it does, I guess is the best way to put it. Like I played Alphamon before, and I really thought the deck was pretty much just linear stacking. This deck is interesting because Chronicle does have linear stacking, but its strategy is still kind of piloted around the same strategy of the Alphamon. Like you really want to like be able to chip your opponent a little bit, but then also finish them with like Oryuken, which is kind of what's moving for. But more importantly, this card is the thing that I like because it does allow you to, when any of your Chronicle trade Digimon are deleted, use delay effect to move the Digimon from the breeding area to the battle area. And then the key thing is it then allows you to, it may digivolve without paying the cost into a Chronicle Digimon. The reason why I think that's really important is that for the deck, it continuously keeps you from, how do I put this? It keeps your stacks from when they're actually deleted, right? Like you lose your Chronicle stack, right? Maybe they, for some reason, blow up your Alphamon or they blow up your Grademon. You're now able to push out a level 3 that's a Chronicle trade Digimon out or anything higher, and then immediately digivolve it for free. So a great option would be like keeping a level 5 in the back, losing whatever's on field, then using this effect to push out, say, a level 5, and then digivolving into like Alphamon. The reason why is, say they've already performed a check. By doing this mechanic this way, you'll gain a recovery +1 off of Alphamon, and now your opponent's realizing, well, that was a neutral check, and they now have a level 6. So the key thing is it continuously allows you to do the loop, or vice versa with level 4s. If you have a level 4 that pushes out, and then it goes into a level 5 and performs its effects, that level 5 will now allow you to replay a level 3 into the breeding area slot, whether it's Dorumon or Ryudomon. And now you start to see how this deck is functioning properly. You're slowly building your stacks quicker, because now that those two are there, you're going to be able to push it up and now have access to another Digimon, for instance. Like, you'll have access to that, or leaving the battle area if you want to go into level 6. But the point is, it's a very good card. And then the security effect is still really good because you're playing a play cost 5 or less Chronicle card. So that's literally any of your champions and below. So you can do anything you want with it. But now we're going to be talking about exactly like how the deck is actually going to probably be able to be paired well with in the metagame. I think what you do now with this deck is the mandatory cards that you're going to want to play are going to be the Seekers cards, because whether it's Dorumon or you choose to use Ryudomon, for instance, the massive benefit you want from playing them is that they all will slot you different tamers, because I think the adjoining tamers you're going to want to play in this deck are going to be things like your Seekers tamers, because having something like Shu Yu Lin in your strategy is just very solid, because I think the cool combo now is that Shu will allow herself to be like mind linked with the Ryudomon from, I think, from BT15. That one allows you to mind link her into it. Then you Digivolve up. As long as you're able to bring out the second stack from the actual battle area into whatever you mind link, you're now going to be able to effectively use Alliance at any time. Also, since your entire strategy carries X antibody, all of them can use Shu in order to use the Alliance. So that's the key factor I have of the deck. And I do think that this deck is going to be very fun to watch in action, because it's very different. Like, that's my best way to say it's very different, but it's very similar as well. So, I really want to see what people want to do with this. I don't necessarily think it's going to be meta breaking, but I do think that this is going to be an interesting deck to see what people do with it. But as always, guys, this is all the information I have for you. This has been What's the Scoop with Chronicle. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comments what you want to do with Chronicle. But as always, this has been Brad from the Ed Army signing off. And for all of you out there, to sign on.